Good evening, everybody. Touch the leg. So, thank you so much for reciting all the chanting. So, within the few pages, it explained all the practice of Buddha teachings. So, the first sentence mainly salutation to Buddha Shakyamuni. Look at, enthused by great compassion, you taught the milk dharma to dispel the permanent view. That means the great compassion is the root of the Mahayana practice. Due to having great compassion, then Buddha taught the dharma. Miracular or very kind of pure dharma. For what reason? For what? To dispel all perverted view. So mainly Buddha taught teaching based on compassion in order to dispel the wrong views. Because due to the wrong views, we have lot of misunderstanding, misperception. If we're not able to dispel the wrong views, particularly the view which is we believe things are exist independently, solidly. This is a very wrong view. The second, taught by Nagarjuna, mainly he explained emptiness. All phenomena, nature is emptiness because all phenomena exist mainly depending on causes and condition. The emptiness has 8 characteristics. The next one, Abhidharma Alankara, taught by Maitreya Buddha. So, after Buddha Shakyamuni left the Tushita, so he appointed Maitreya Buddha as a king of the Tushita. So, this sentence taught by Maitreya Buddha. How? Because a Sangha had lot of difficulties to understand the meaning of Prajna Paramita's teaching. So then he thought only Maitreya Buddha can have him to explain the perfection of the wisdom, the Prajna Paramita teachings. Then he was doing a lot of meditation for mainly wish to meet Maitreya Buddha. So he spent almost 9 years in retreat. Finally, he met Maitreya Buddha, and Maitreya Buddha asked him to go with him to Tushita. So within, I think, one day, so Maitreya Buddha taught, the 5 treatises to a Sangha. Then this is mainly composed by Maitreya Buddha. The first sentence, look at, I prostrate to the mother of Buddha and of the hearer and Bodhisattvas. The mother of the Buddha is not talking about, Buddha Shakyamuni's mother. He's mainly talking about the perfection of wisdom. So mainly talk about the wisdom which realizes emptiness. The wisdom which realizes emptiness, actually it is the mother of the Buddha. All Buddhas, all sentient beings will become Buddha because of practice of emptiness. Wisdom of realized emptiness. After someone become Buddha, then Buddha taught the teaching to hearer and Bodhisattvas. So the mother is talking about the perfection of wisdom. The next sentence, the word salutation to Pramana Vartika. Again, look at the one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations. So Buddhas, all Buddhas, Buddha Shakyamuni, eliminate the conceptualization, the mis-thoughts, in the thoughts which is perceive the wrong views. So he eliminate the conceptualization based on knowing the right view. So many years he practiced great compassion, emptiness. Then finally he achieved true, bodies, vast and profound. That means Rupakaya and Dharmakayas. Then in the mantra of dependent origination is mainly explained about the Four Noble Truths. Look at in the translation. All phenomena arise from causes. Causes are taught by Tathagata. Cessation of cause as well is taught by great seers. That means again, all phenomena are independent, because of dependent phenomena. Dependent, not independent. Is mainly explained about the Four Noble Truths. Refuge in generating bodhicitta. So as a Buddhist, every day, within 24 hours, you must remember Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Buddhas look like your guide, your teacher. Dharma is the real, protection or protector. You protect from samsara, you protect from sufferings, lead to the cessation of the suffering and the cause of suffering. The Sangha is not talking about simple monks and nuns, mainly the practitioner who fully accomplish the third part, Sangha, Arhato, Arhat. So next one, then look at the foundation of all good qualities. It's just 1.5 page. This is explain the essence of the Lamrim. Essence of the Lamrim. If you could, please try to memorize this text. It's very useful to remember all the practice of Lamrim. The first sentence, the first paragraph is mainly talking about the quality of the teacher. When you found the qualified teacher, you must have a pure devotion to him or her, the Guru, the root of the path. So look at, everybody practice Dharma, practice the path. In order to practice the path, we must depend on the qualified teacher. Doesn't matter the teacher is a male or female. The teacher must be very qualified teacher. The teachers look like very professional doctor. When you have a sickness, when you see doctor, the doctor really will tell you this is your problem. You must take that and this medicine. So since you found a perfect teacher, you fully follow after the teacher. So far you don't have your personal or teacher, then you just follow the Buddha Shakyamuni. You can believe Buddha Shakyamuni as your root guru, your teacher. Just follow his teaching. The next sentence, the paragraph 2, is mainly again talk about understanding the precious freedom of the rebirth is found only once. That means you're talking about the human rebirth, or the higher realms rebirth is so difficult to found. It looks like it's just in our whole life we've found maybe once. Then second sentence is greatly meaningful and difficult to find again. It's very meaningful to have the human life, because if you study seriously, practice seriously, practice Dharma very seriously, within one lifetime you can be Buddha, you can be Arahat, you can overcome from samsara, you can be free from suffering. It's very meaningful. It's a great, meaningful. Can we achieve this kind of meaningful life again and again? No. It's so difficult to find again. Then you must remember how it's difficult to find. That's been, please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, take its essence. So always we must think how I can achieve the essence, which is liberation, can be Buddhahood. Then next, the paragraph number 3, 4 is mainly explain the part of small scope, small capacity. So this is mainly Lamrim. If you could memorize, it will be very useful for you, because we don't have enough time to read all the Lamrim textbook. So if you're able to memorize, when you just chant the text, you can reflect. You can make a reflection through all the practice of Lamrim. So before we start the new kind of lesson, we should have a short revision. So the first part of Lamrim mainly explain what kind of teaching we must follow. Second, explain what kind of guru or teacher we must find, how we must rely on. Then also explain the quality of the practitioner. After you found meet a perfect teacher, then how we must practice the Dharma. Now it's time to build house, the step by step. So before we practice Dharma, there's a few conditions you always remember. This means, look at the human life of leisure and opportunity. So we we compare human being and other sentient beings, animal, hungry ghosts, hairy rams. Even though you can compare your life with the divine, celestial being, if you compare with them, you can see human life is very important, because you have the ability to practice, the Hinayana path, Mahayana path, Vajrayana path. The divine beings or celestial being, they don't have the ability to practice the Vajrayana. They don't have the ability to practice bodhicitta, because they don't have the suffering which is we have. So that's why we are very fortunate to have a human life. Not just human life, we are free from the so we have the 10 so taking full advantage of the life of leisure opportunity is explained in terms of the 3 aspects. First, you must identify the leisure and opportunity. Right? You must remember, you must identify yourself. I am very fortunate. I have, this, important life. Then mainly explain here at 16, the good quality of human life. What are the 16 qualities? Can you tell me? 16 qualities of the human life. What are they? What are they? Yeah, 18, sorry, 18, yeah. 18. What are they? First you have to say, 10 and 8. First you must remember the 10s together, there's a name. Freedom from the rebirth in any of the 8 conditions that lack leisure, right? So what are the 8 conditions that lack leisure? Wrong view, 1. 2. Animal, 3. Hungry ghost, 4. Being 5. 6. Stupid mad person, 7. Deity of long life. So just you remember, you are not, you don't have a wrong view. Here the wrong view refer to the people who say there's no next life, there's no previous life, there's no law of causality. So we don't have this kind of view, right? You believe in next life, you believe in previous life, also you believe in karma, you believe in triple gem. So as mentioned before in the last class, so you must believe in next life, in the previous life, based on evidence, based on logics, based on reasoning. You should not say there must be next life, there must be previous life because Buddha said so, my teacher said so, my parents said so, my friend said so. You should not say this way, you should not think this way. You try to prove based on logic, reasoning, or based on your own experience. Then you really believe in next life and previous life. When you fully believe this kind of life, then you are free from the wrong view. Okay. Then second one, if you don't believe next and previous life, then you will engage in a lot of negative actions. If you engage with a lot of negative action, is not good for you this life. You just don't worry about next life. If you always engage in the wrong actions, it's very bad for you, it's very bad for others. It's harmful for you, harmful others. So you should think I'm very lucky, don't have the wrong views. Second, without a conquer words, right? Even though someone born as a human, they has a human life, but they don't have the opportunity to listen the Buddha teaching. So you should not think, I'm very lucky because I'm Buddhist, I have opportunity to listen Buddha teaching. Just think about what Buddha taught. Buddha always said, be compassionate, be honest, right? Don't be angry person, be compassionate person. Because when you get angry, it's very harmful to you, is harmful for others. So what Buddha said, in order to reduce anger, you practice compassion. This means the Buddha teaching, the Buddhist practices actually in its universal practice. Because we don't have this is a Buddhist anger, this is non-Buddhist anger. Anger is always anger, right? Makes you unhappy. That means the practice compassion also, antidotes for any types of anger. That means you should think I'm very lucky to have an opportunity to study Buddha teaching, to listen Buddha teaching. Through study, through listening, you will understand which is right, which is wrong. Through listening of the Buddha teaching, commentary on the Buddha teaching, you will understand how to be. You will know how to be a happy person, how to reduce all the disturbing minds. That means, because look at, as a sentient beings, the being who has a mind, right? Everybody wish to be happy, right? Don't want to be suffered. You don't want suffering. You always want happiness. How you can achieve happiness? You can achieve happiness knowing the cause of the happiness, knowing the obstacle of happiness. Then you can apply the antidote of the the wrong condition of the happiness. You can achieve the right condition of happiness. Then you always be happy. Therefore, you should think, I am very lucky to born as a human. Not only human, I don't have the wrong views. Also, I am very lucky to have an opportunity to study, listening, practice of the Buddha teaching. Then next, even though you don't have a wrong views, and even though you are born the place where the Buddha teaching exists, then if you are mute, like stupid, you don't understand, right? That means you are free from the 8 condition that lacks leisure. So that means you always reflect the 8 condition that lack leisure. So what are the 10 conditions? 5 aspects of opportunity that pertain to yourself, then 5 aspects of opportunity that pertain to others, right? So what are the 5 aspects of opportunity that pertain to yourself? Without Lamrim, look at Lamrim text, can you tell me? Being human, faculty, having reversible karma, having faith in the source. Then look at, just number 1, being human is very nice. Second, you are born just as human. If there's not, you are born in a totally remote area which doesn't have the Buddha teaching, then you cannot be free from suffering. That's why you are born as human. You are born in the central region where the Buddha teaching exists, where the 4 disciples of Buddha exist. The next one, having complete sensory faculty, right? This always reflect the 10 conditions. So next, so we just move all the B, page number 120, B. Contemplating the great importance of leisure and opportunity. This sentence is very important. Until death, animals strive merely to avoid suffering and achieve happiness. Right? Even though cow, sheep, dogs, even though all animals, they always strive, they always try to avoid suffering. They try to achieve happiness. Therefore, if you do this and do not practice the pure teaching of the sake of achieving lasting happiness, then you are like an animal, despite being born in the happy realms, right? So you just think your left side, in front of you, there's a animal like cow. You compare you and cow, right? The cow, until the cow death, they always try to avoid suffering. They always try to achieve happiness, because when they feel thirsty, they try to find food. When they feel cold, they try to find shelter. When they confront with a lion, tiger, dog, they try to avoid. They try to escape from the enemy, right? So if you're thinking only about this life, try to be happy only this life, then you are not much different than the animals. So that's why we are, not animal. We are human being. We have all this good condition. We should not think only about this life. We should think farther than this life. If there's no next life, it's okay, you don't need to worry about next life. Just try to be happy. Even though in order to have a happy in this life, you have to be honest. You have to be compassionate. You have to reduce all the negative thoughts. Otherwise, even though you have all condition, you have a money, you have a power, you have a house, you have everything. If you don't know how to control your negative thoughts, you'll never be happy, right? That's why, as a human being, you should not think only myself, only my family, only my relatives. You just think, all sentient beings. Just have a compassion towards all sentient beings. Then you can see you and animal is different. Right? That's why please everybody, not only thinking this life, think about next life. If you're only thinking about this life, or if you're only thinking about happiness of this life, then you are not much different than the animals. Now look at the words, by Nagarjuna. Just as an elephant crab as a few mouthfuls of grass that grow at the edge of the deep pit and falls into the chance without obtaining any. So it is with those who desire the joy of this world. That means look at the elephant. They just have a very strong desire to eat the mouthful grass. The grass is grow edge of the like a cliff or edge of the mountain. So the elephant never think about there's a very deep like cliff or deep edge. They just have a sense of desire to eat the grass. Then due to have an attachment about the grass, the elephant fall into deep kind of very kind of deep. They follow in the deep place. They cannot get out. That's why if you have only desire about this life, after your death, then you really fall into the lower realms. Think about, now we are human being, right? We have everything. Within few hours, if you died, then you are already next life. You should not think that next life is very far. When you stop breathing, you are already in next life, right? Right? So within few minutes, you become animal, you become hungry ghost, you become cow, sheep, within few minutes. So you should not think only about this life, should not attach only this life. You should think about, farther than this life. So we should not be like elephant, we should not be like animal, we should have the long-sighted. Next life, after next life, we should think about until become a Buddha. Next sentence, look at, not just any life will suffice for the practice of such as pure teachings in general or for the practice of the Mahayana path in particular. Concurrently, you must attain such a life as was described earlier. So in order to practice pure dharma, right? In order to practice the Mahayana teaching, you have to go through like a lot of good life. So just be human. You cannot practice a dharma. Be human, born in the central region, meeting the Buddha teaching, meet the perfect guru, have the perfect faculties. Then you have all condition to practice dharma. Particularly, you have all the condition to practice Mahayana teaching. If you miss this, important opportunity, then definitely, we won't have this kind of opportunity again and again. That means always think, I have very important life. I should not waste my time. I should not waste my energy. I try to achieve something within this lifetime. Then slowly you really feel, I must practice Dharma. I must practice Mahayana teaching. I must practice bodhicitta. It's, expire you to practice of Dharma. That's why next sentence, next one, I think, saying by the letter to the student, right? With a human life, you attain the spiritual enlightenment, which is the basis for the path to the state of the Sujata, which bring great mental force and which is equipped for to lead all beings. That means the human life is very important because within the human life you can practice bodhicitta, right? Bodhicitta. So the human life is the very important basis for the path to state of the Sujata. Even though you are born in the celestial being, you have wonderful life, you have a very happy life, but you don't have the opportunity to practice bodhicitta. That's when you always appreciate born as a human. You always appreciate, born as a human, born in the central region, where all the practices still exist. All being. Then next, I think we already talked about. So that's me, so now we are studying about that contemplating the great importance of leisure and opportunity, right? This means the human life which you have is a very important. Now, you go into lower realms, you go into higher realms, you achieve liberation, you achieve Buddhahood, or you born as a human like a hungry ghost is 100% depend on you. Right, depend on you. Now this means you have this is a very important, time to choose where you want to go. You want to go in the lower realms, or you want to go to the higher realms, or you want to achieve liberation, you want to achieve Buddhahood, because you have all conditions there. So even though you have all the the good conditions there, if you don't practice Dharma, if you don't practice the 10 virtues, if you don't practice ethical discipline, then next life, definitely, we will take, rebirth in the lower realms. Then you are a bit scary about, born in the lower realms, then you practice only 10 virtues, taking refuge, not practice renunciation, emptiness. Then next life, you can be reborn as a higher realms, cannot achieve liberation. Does this mean? So this is very important kind of turning kind of time. Go in the lower realms, go into higher realms, achieve liberation. Buddhahood is depend on us, not depend on Buddha, not depend on the Buddha teaching. Right? This means very important, a great importance. Because this is a good opportunity to achieve Buddhahood, achieve liberations. Then next we study a little bit about all the quotation. Okay. So next also descend into the Warm Sutra. This sutra also, taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. This sutra is very important sutra because it explains how we were born, how we are going to die. It mainly explain, the system of birth and death. The sutra. Look at, even though you have been born a human with such as limitless suffering, right? Even though you have so many sufferings, you have so many problems, you still have the best of situation. it is difficult to attain this even in terms of millions eons, right? Doesn't matter how many sufferings and problems you have, still you have the good situation, you have a good condition to understand, to practice of Dharma. This may look like, there's a very rich people who doesn't have any kind of external sufferings. But the rich people, for example, the rich people don't practice Dharma. On the other hand, you can see there's a very poor person who doesn't have, all the external condition. But even though the poor people become very poor, but the poor people has a right opportunity to practice Dharma. Right? Doesn't matter how much you have a sufferings and problem, still you have a good opportunity to practice Dharma, have a good opportunity to becoming Arhat and becoming Buddha. That's why he's saying, look at, Buddha said, even though you have been born as a human with such a limitless suffering, you still have the best of the situation. It is difficult to attain this even in the 10 million eons. Even when the deities die, the other deity says, may you have a happy rebirth. By happy rebirth, it means human rebirth. Even though we wish to born in the higher realms, right, like a celestial being, how long we can be in the celestial being realms? How many eons? Let's say 1 million years. After 1 million, what happened? I have to die. Then again go into lower realms, right? That means all the gods, the celestial being knew, they are very lucky to have, the happy life. Also, they realize they don't have the opportunity to practice Dharma. That's when, some friends die and they say, oh, we were born as a happy life. We are human life. So we don't have to pray, right? We already human. Actually, we are very lucky. Look at all the teachings available in Chinese language, in English language, in Tibetan language, all teaching are there. Also, you have a lot of time, you have a lot of free time to study, practice meditation of Dharma. But still, we neglect the opportunity. We neglect the practice of Dharma. It will be, very kind of, if we lost this opportunity, it will be a great loss forever. We should not think we can have this kind of opportunity again and again. It's true. Look at, you compare human being and other beings. We have a number of human beings, right? 7 billions. We don't have a number of like a fish. We don't have a number of like a insect. Compared with fish, human being, nothing, very little amount of numbers. So think about that, then you can feel it, I must practice a Dharma. Even though the deities, may you have happy rebirth. By happy rebirth, that means a human rebirth. Thus, even though deities hold human life something towards which they aspire. So, a love is a certain type of deity, realms deity. That means, it explains what type of deity. One who has strong latent propensity due to the previous having turned in the path as human can serve as a basis for initially seeing the truth. However, you cannot initially attain the path of the noble being during life in the higher realms. That means even though you are born in the higher realms like a celestial being, but there's no kind of opportunity to generate renunciation because they don't have suffering which is we have. They don't have opportunity to practice great compassion because they cannot see the other celestial being has a lot of sufferings. That means you is compare, even though that some like a celestial being, due to the previous propensity, due to the previous karma, sometimes they remember, practice of dharma, but they cannot practice dharma for a long time because they have, tendency to be always be happy. For example, there are two students. One student come from wealthy family. One student come from poor family. Both of have to put effort in study. The rich people, the boy come from rich people, they cannot put effort continuously. They remember, they are the luxury kind of facility. The poor people, the poor student come from poor family, they continuously able to put effort for studying because they don't have the tendency to remember all the luxury, lifestyle. That means we are look like, born in the poor family. The celestial beings are born look like the rich family. So we don't have the tendency to, remember all the luxury things. That's why, we must always remember you are very opportunity to have all the condition to practice of dharma. Then next, I think nothing much explained. Okay, now we just jump into the page number 122. Page number 22. Right? Arya Surya says, human life plants the seeds for going beyond the second existence. The supreme seeds of the glorious enlightenment. Human life is stream of the good quality, better than wish-granting jewels. Who here would attain the west it? Who here would attain it and then west it? This sentence is very important, taught by Buddha, right? That means human life has a plant the seeds. That means as a human being, you are able to generate bodhicitta. If you are able to practice bodhicitta, if you are able to practice emptiness, you are going to go beyond the cyclic existence. You are able to go beyond the samsara. The celestial being cannot plant the seeds, right? And supreme seeds of the glory enlightenment. The seeds, the bodhicitta, the seeds of the bodhicitta is not just simple seeds. The seeds can be seeds for, becoming enlightenment. Human life is a stream of the good qualities, better than a wish-granting jewelries. So the wish-granting, jewelries, I think in the ancient time there must be, I think, very important, very rare jewelry, but nobody had seen yet. For example, if you have 1 kilo of diamond, right? You have 1 kilo of diamond. So you never think my life is more worthy than this diamond, piece of diamond, right? That's why we should think that the piece of diamond is nothing compared with my life. Because if you sell the diamond, you can get maybe billions of dollars, right? You cannot achieve Buddhahood. Cannot. So if you compare your life with a big piece of diamond, you should think my life is more worthy, more important, more useful than the piece of diamond. We are opposite, right? We are opposite. We think our human life is nothing. The diamond, the gold, silver, monies are more important, right? Everybody think this way. So that's why, we never think I have a very important life. I don't want to waste. We thought human life is nothing. That's why who here would attain it and then waste it. So it depends on you. You want to waste or you want to attain something. The next one, I think, engage into Buddhist way life. There's nothing more diluted and nothing more confused than for me to have found such as leisure and yet not to cultivate virtues. Right? We think we are very intelligent. We think we are very wise. We are not. Because we have, very important life. But we don't practice Dharma. We never cultivate bodhicitta, emptiness. This means we are wasting the time. This means we are very deluded, very confused. So this is, I think, mainly explain how the human life is very important. It's important because this lifetime, you can achieve arhatship, you can achieve Buddhahood, you can be free from suffering. If you miss the chance, it's a very, a great loss. That's why it's a very important kind of turning point, right? Turning point. Then, how we can achieve essence? How I can attain the essence, which is something which is very important. How? Then another problem as a Buddhist. Somebody realize, yes, I have a very important human life. Also realize, my life is impermanent. One day I'm dying. When I'm dying, moment of the death, I cannot carry anything. You realize it. Then you try to practice Dharma. Mainly in our whole life, West, I cannot say West, whole our life spent with the, accumulating merit, reciting chanting, reciting mantra, doing some lot of chanting, lot of offering, visiting holy place, which is good. But only this kind of practice, you cannot achieve the essence, which is arhatship, which is liberation, which is free from samsara. So in order to achieve liberation, in order to achieve Buddhahood, in order to free from suffering, you must do a lot of meditation. Meditation on impermanence, meditation on Four Noble Truths, meditation on great compassion, meditation on interdependent originations. So I told many times, we need to switch the time, we need to change the time. Until now, we spend a lot of time with the, mainly focusing on accumulating merit, right? Accumulating merit. Now we switch the, the time. We spend more time with the meditation. We must spend time with the, for accumulating merit, less time for accumulating merit, more time for meditation. So, look at why meditation practice is more important than the, chanting recitation. Why we are in samsara? Because not lack of chanting, because not lack of recitation, because not lack of, not enough accumulating merit. We are in samsara, we were in samsara, we will be in samsara in the future because we not able to eliminate the root of the samsara. We are not able to generate the important source of liberation, Buddhahood, source of free from suffering, right? So we cannot recognize which one is more important resource to achieve Buddhahood, achieve liberation. Also, we're not able to recognize which is the more important, principal source of suffering, source of samsara. So we must recognize the two roots, root of the samsara, root of the liberation. In order to recognize two of them, we have to study. After you study, you have to practice continuously, right? That's why. So this is very important. time for us, is the turning point, go into against samsara, or go into, can be free from suffering, can be achieve Buddhahood, liberation. It's very much depend on us. So this is, I think, look at the Arya Sura says. The next sentence, those who have obtained a human life rich in virtues through a collection of merit over immeasurable eons, and who then, due to the confession in this life, fail to accumulate even the subtle treasure of the merit. Right? That means now we explain how you can achieve the essence. Right? So first you need to accumulate virtues. Then I explained many times we should not mix virtues and the merit. Okay, make sure you should not mix, you should not think virtues, positive action, merit are same. No. Okay, so far doesn't matter how much you try to accumulate like virtues. All virtues just simply virtues, simply positive actions. Never be merit. Never be merit. So number one, step number one, you need to accumulate virtues. Then through the virtues practice, you must accumulate two types of merit. Collection of merit, and usually we say wisdom and wisdom virtues. So usually in Sanskrit there's a sambra, so two types of like a merit, virtues merit and wisdom merits. That means we have two practices: practice of methods, practice of wisdom. Then there's two types of merit. Due to the two types of practice, then we have two types of achievement. Right? Due to the two types of achievement, then we have two types of action. Action for benefit yourself, action for benefit for others. So I ask you to do some homework, right? So do you remember the homework? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 elements. Okay, without looking your textbook, can you tell me what are the 4 elements? Mm-hmm. Okay, this for us very important, right? This means okay. I think somebody already confused. Simply, you just reflect about your life. How lucky you are. How opportunity you are. How many good opportunity you have. You are very lucky because you are free from the like 8 condition, which is lack of leisure. Right? You are very lucky because you are free from the the 8 condition, which is lack of leisure. And also you just think how I'm lucky because I have the 10 conditions. That means you have all the condition which is necessary to understand Dharma, to practice Dharma. But you can understand because you are not stupid. You are not lacking in any the sense of faculty. You have the complete faculties. Then why this life is so important? Why? Because even though the celestial, we believe the celestial being which is higher than us. Yes, physically they are higher than us. Physically they are more beautiful than us. But in terms of practice, we are more lucky than them, right? Them, because they don't have the ability to, they don't have the opportunity to understand the Dharma. They don't have opportunity to practice of Dharma. That means it's so important, because if you fully follow the practice, fully follow the Buddha teaching, you will be free from suffering. You will achieve liberation. You fully liberate. You achieve Buddhahood. That means it's very important life. Then what should I do? Yes, I have all the condition. I'm very lucky. What should I do? That means you must practice Dharma. I'm not saying you must practice Dharma. If you practice Dharma, you become Buddhist. No. You must practice Dharma, then you become happier. You become more happy person. If you seriously practice Dharma continuously, finally you can have happiness forever. Forever. Right? That means there's a 4 condition. Condition number 1, I think Chanjule. I cannot find the Tibetan one. What's the page number? 1 to 6. Yeah. Okay, 1 to 6. Okay, meditate until you attain the altitude indicated in the story. In order to develop this sort of full qualified desire to take full advantage of the life of leisure, you must reflect on the 4 elements as follow. Right? That means, each time before you do the actual practice. For example, you want to practice great compassion. You want to practice renunciation. Whatever you practice, before you lead a light, you must reflect all the good condition. Then slowly remember impermanence. Then you must think, I must practice Dharma, right? I need to practice the teaching, because all living beings only want happiness, don't want suffering. And because of achieving happiness and alleviating the suffering depend only on practice of the teaching. That means, why you need to practice teaching? Why you need to practice Dharma? The answer, I want happiness. I don't want suffering. Right? So in order to achieve happiness, in order to elevating suffering, what you need to do? You need to practice teaching, Dharma. Right? Then you should not confuse, okay, most times when we talk about teaching, we always think about, the sound, the teaching. Teaching has a 2 meaning, the textbook and the content of the textbook. Okay, teaching not necessarily through the words. Actually the meaning also teaching. So you must think, I want to practice Dharma because I want happiness, I don't want suffering. So achieving happiness, elevating suffering depend only, right? They say depend only on practice the teachings. How? Because suffering, right? How many types of suffering? We have generally 2 types. Physical suffering and mental suffering, right? Physical suffering, mental suffering. Physical suffering, we can divide into 2 types. One, due to, different disease, different sickness, due to eating, bad food, then you have physical sufferings. This kind of suffering you can avoid based on eating healthy food, based on doing exercise, yoga, whatever you want to do mainly to having healthy body. Then another types of physical suffering because aging and death. This kind of we cannot control, right? Everybody must go through the aging and death. We cannot control the physical suffering. The mental suffering, mainly in the Buddhist, Buddha explain how we can reduce the mental sufferings. For example, anger. Just think about just only anger. When anger arises within your mind, how do you feel? When you look at someone getting very angry, look at the face. Can you see the person look very happy, very peaceful? No. Right? Think about anger. Then how we can, how I can be free from anger? Practice of Dharma. Practice of Dharma. What kind of Dharma? Practice of compassion. Practice of equanimity. Practice of love. If you practice compassion, love, equanimity every day, then step number one. Number one, you cannot have any more anger. Then through practice of compassion, it reduces anger. That means the anger only can reduce through practice of teaching, practice of Dharma. Right? So if you are able to reduce all your anger, how wonderful person you will be. Right? Right? That's why, number one, elements one, I need to practice teaching. Number two, what's the number two? Because you are endowed with the external condition, teacher, internal condition, leisure, opportunity. That means someone wish to practice teaching, right? For example, let's say someone in, like a totally remote area which doesn't have any Dharma teacher. They wish to practice teaching, but there's no external condition. There's no textbook available. Even though textbook there, but there's no teacher. Then we are very lucky. We have the external condition because all the teachings are there. All the teachers are there, right? Internal condition, leisure and opportunity. That means I want to practice Dharma because I have all the condition. What is the element 3? Because many lifetime. That means I want to practice, I need to practice, I want to be happy. I can practice Dharma because I have all the conditions there. So when are you going to practice Dharma? Next life? Next year? No. Now. Why? Why? Because I am impermanence. My life is impermanent. It can be, I'm dying. I can be died anytime. That's why I must practice now. If I don't practice now, if I die within few years, then I cannot obtain, the opportunity life. What is the element number 4? When you will die. That's mean every day you think, I'm very fortunate, I have all this condition, I want to practice Dharma, I have all this condition, I want to practice Dharma now, right? Now. You should not, postpone your time. Among this, the third, stop the laziness of giving up. What is the number 3? Need to practice in this lifetime, because if you do not practice, it will be very difficult to obtain the leisure and opportunity again for many lifetimes. That means when you think about, I cannot have this kind of life again and again, it stop to be lazy, practice of Dharma. Then the 4th, what's the number 4th? Right now. If you think I need to practice Dharma right now, you stop what? Laziness of the disengagement, which thing, although I should practice it, it is enough to practice later or and not practice in my earlier month and day, right? That means when you think about, then mainly, in order to have all these elements, what Buddha said, within the Four Noble Truths, what is the first truth? Truth of suffering. How many characteristics within the truth of suffering? Fourth. What is the first one? Impermanence. Right? So, beginning of the Buddha teaching, when Buddha gave a teaching, he talked about Four Noble Truths. First, truth of suffering. First, he explained impermanence. Impermanence. If you remember impermanence, you remember the death. When you remember the death, then you have a less attachment about this life. You have a less attachment about your position, your power, your money. Always remember impermanence. Then you always think, I want to practice now because I'm impermanent. I can be die anytime. So that's why Buddha said, there are so many concepts, so many views, so many, the belief system. Among the concepts, the best concept of impermanence. Impermanence. Always remember impermanence. Then, all the elements will come together. If you reflect on this human life of leisure and opportunity from many perspectives, you will greatly affect your mind. Therefore, contemplate as instructed above. If you cannot do this, condense. Okay, you have to think many different ways. If you cannot think many different ways, then you condense. How? Look at this material into the three topics. What the nature of the leisure and opportunity? Then you think about, only I'm very lucky, I have all this condition. Number two, how it is important. How it is important. The final one, what is the third one? Yes, how important in terms of the, how it is difficult to attain, easy to lost. First you remember, the nature of opportunity and leisure. Number one. Then number two, you must remember how it is important. Important. Then finally, you can think how I can achieve, something which is important. Then how it is important in terms of temporary and final goals. And how it is difficult to obtain in terms of the cause and effect. Right? So what is the temporary goal? What is the final goal? Temporary goal? High status. Final goal? Omniscience or liberation. Okay, let's say, like omniscience or Buddhahood. That means it really explains us, someone can be achieved Buddhahood within one lifetime. If you not, we have to go through, many lifetime. So in order to go through, many lifetime, you have to be continuously need to born in human life again and again. Then you can achieve the final goal. So as a Buddhist, we should not, the goal is not just simple, right? The goal is very great, not simple, which is liberation, which is Buddhahood. Then there's a big question you may ask yourself every day. Can I be free from suffering or not? Right? Can I be free from suffering or not? Can I achieve Buddhahood or not? Can I be Buddha or not? You ask this question every day. Yes, you can see I'm very fortunate. My life is impermanent. I wish to achieve the final goal. Then ask question. What's the question? Can I be free from suffering? Can I able to achieve liberation? Can I able to achieve Buddhahood or not? You ask this question every day. I will ask you a question, you must answer, okay? Can you be free from suffering? Can you be free from suffering? Yes. Really? How? How? How do you know through practice of Dharma you can be free from suffering? For example, no, then I say, for example, do you believe Buddha Shakyamuni achieve Buddhahood, become Buddha? Do you believe? Did he free from suffering? No. Finally, he need to go through the death. He wasn't free from the death. He wasn't free from the aging. He wasn't free from the sickness. So how you can prove? Through practice, you can be free from suffering, right? Do you believe Buddha go through the sickness, aging, death, right? Then how you can be better than Buddha Shakyamuni? Huh?
The suffering he went through did not affect his mind.
Did he free from suffering or not? The answer should be yes or not. You should not go this way, yes, otherwise, no. Huh? Did Buddha was free from suffering? He wasn't. He went through all. Finally, he took into, parinirvana. Means we say parinirvana, finally, he will go through the death. Right? Death. Then, next, how do you know? After he dead, he will be free from suffering. How do you know? Right? That means it's very, that's why whatever we believe, whatever we practice based on, analysis, logic and reasoning. So I will tell you that there's a two concept based on Theravada tradition, concept based on the Mahayana tradition. Okay? Actually, we can say, after he fully become Buddha, become Buddha, but still there's a two concept, make sure. According to Theravada tradition, still he rely on the dukkha, the truth of suffering. He still rely on the truth of suffering, the dukkha. Okay? According to Mahayana tradition, it look like he's depend on the depend on the dukkha, but he's totally free from the dukkha. Dukkha, he wasn't, go through the, aging and death. But for the ordinary person, ordinary sense, we can see he gone through the sickness and aging and death, but there's no death of the Buddha Shakyamuni. This is the Mahayana, based on Mahayana concept. So this question number one, can you be free from suffering or not? Question number two, can you be Buddha or not? Can you be Buddha one day or not? Yes. Very serious question, huh? How you can be Buddha? What does it mean Buddha? Huh? Huh? Yeah, free from, very good. Buddha or, not Buddha, not is depend on the physical body, it's mainly about the mental qualities. If your mind is fully pure, not any emotions, not contaminated by obscuration, right? obscuration. Do you know the difference between affective emotions and obscuration? Do you know the differences? For example, I told you the garlic and the smell of garlic, right? Affective emotions look like garlic. Like anger, attachment, desire, include ignorance. Those are afflictive emotions. In Tibetan called nyomong. Afflictive means when it arises, it makes you unhappy. Suddenly, it makes you unhappy. Then, obscuration means obscure is a block. Obscure. This means the imprint, the propensity. Propensity means, like kind of tendency. You can say easy one, tendency, which is led by anger, attachment, ignorance, we call obscurations. Then we believe, my mind can be free from negative thoughts. Not only that, my mind is free from obscuration as well. Now this is a very important question. Can your mind free from attachment? Can your mind free from anger or not? Right? It's a very important question. In order to know this one, then you really need to know the nature of the minds. We have a positive minds, we have a negative minds. The positive minds and the difference is all the negative minds which is we have, all the positive mind which is we have, both are is minds, right? Both are mind. The negative minds doesn't have a solid foundation. Okay, it's very important. The negative minds, like for example, attachment doesn't have a solid foundation. The compassion which is we have, it has a solid foundation. That's why if you increase the compassion, you can increase limitlessly. If you try to increase attachment, you cannot increase limitlessly. Right? Limitlessly. So why? Because all the positive mind which is we have, it has a solid foundation. All the negative thoughts which is we have, it doesn't have a solid foundation. How? For example, just we do short analysis. Let's say we just generate compassion towards particular person. You can generate the compassion for limitlessly. More stronger, it's become limitlessly. Attachment, if you try to generate attachment, it increase certain degree, but it cannot increase limitlessly, right? Let's say anger, right? You can be angry towards someone certain degree, right? If I ask you increase the anger, finally you say I cannot, right?
You can kill him. What?
No. Yes, very good. You can kill, but it doesn't mean your anger, generated limitlessly. For you can have a compassion towards someone every day if you try. Anger you cannot. Yes, you have anger towards someone for a few months, then due to certain reason, no more anger toward the person. Compassion you can maintain forever. That's why because solid foundation, not
Hate someone for life, sir.
Yeah. You can hate very good. This is I'm really appreciate you say is openly very nice, because this colors, this is the Lamrim is not like a not, I'm not giving teaching. We have a class, we must discuss, openly discuss. He said is we can have anger forever. So when the anger arises, what basis is arise? What basis? Why you hate him?
Because he done something wrong.
Yeah. yes, you say he done something wrong. Yes, he or she done something wrong, not 100% depend on them. Also depend on you, right? On you, depend on you. So this kind of anger, yes, definitely somebody has anger for whole lifetime to someone, but we never think the anger arises with, I have anger to someone, I always think it's because of that person. We never think because of me, right? Because of me. We never, nobody did you to say, oh, it's my mistake. Somebody say it's my mistake, which is good. Most people say it's totally your mistake, right? That means the anger, then slowly you do analytical meditation about anger, then you must remember how to practice patience, right? Patience. That means what Buddha said, what the master says, the anger also mind, compassion also mind. We can say roughly mind. Actually, you can say it's not mind, mental factor. Let's say it's minds. Both is mind, but the compassion is the the mental quality. Anger is not the mental quality. It arises, look like the cloud in the sky is calm and will go, calm and will go. The compassion you have, since we can say it's look like nature of your mind, nature of your mind. That's why generally our mind is more positive than the negative. We have a lot of positive than the negative naturally. Due to culture, due to environment, then we have a lot of negative thoughts. We collect a lot of negative thoughts. Generally, the nature of mind is very pure. Due to that reason, that we can believe one day my mind can be fully pure. That means the nature of mind is look like white piece of clothes. Is become black, become green due to different condition. When you wash, you able to wash, you able to purify all the color. Finally, you can see the pure piece of clothes. That's why when you do meditation on compassion today and tomorrow, then you can really feel it. My compassion has become more stronger. The compassion become more stronger, you feel happy, right? You feel happy about it, your practice. If you always generate compassion, you can increase. The more you increase, how do you feel? Feel uneasiness, feel unhappy, right? So if you increase anger, you feel is not good for you. When you increase compassion, you feel is good for you, good for others. That means you can see, compassion increase for limitlessly. Anger go certain amount, they cannot increase. The example was given by Buddha in the sutra. It looked like exercise, practice of jumping, long jump, right? In the historical, who could jump the longest jump? Do you know? In the historical, who did the longest jump in the what you call the Olympic game? Longest one, right? Let's say you're able to jump 10 feet. Let's say 10 feet. If you try again and again, maybe you can jump 11 or 12. Finally, your energy become limit to jump further 15 feet. You cannot jump further because your limitation, your ability become limit, right? This is like a negative thoughts. You can increase certain degree, but you cannot increase limitlessly. That compassion also not only the jump, also as said Buddhas, the heating, heating the water. The water is cool. If you heat by like electricity or gas, you can boil the water. The more you boil, what it will become? It increase the the temperature. If you boil continuously, finally the water going to disappear. Right? You cannot boil, limitless temperature. You reach to the limit temperature. If you still boil, then slowly the water going to disappear. Then all negative thoughts look like, practicing jumping, boiling water increase the temperature. Then practice of compassion, practice of love, practice of bodhicitta can be practiced or increased limitlessly, because the foundation is very solid, because it's the good quality of the mind. That's why you should think, I want to practice Dharma. I can practice. I must practice now in order to achieve Buddhahood, liberation. Can you be Buddha? Yes, I can be Buddha, because we have a positive mind, I have a negative mind. I can increase the positive mind as well negative minds. But the negative mind increase limitlessly. It cannot go limitless. It limited. The positive mind increase limitlessly. The positive mind increase, then what happened? Negative mind decrease. The negative mind increase, positive mind decrease. For example, compassion increase, what happened? Anger decrease. But most important one, I told you in this class, many people, say, I'm not happy because I'm very angry. There's somebody says, you must practice compassion. Whom I must practice compassion? You must practice compassion to the person whom you are angry. Okay? You are angry. For example, you are very angry with Mr. A. You must practice compassion towards Mr. A, not Mr. B. Okay? B. Even though I'm not happy because I have a very strong attachment. You have a strong attachment with a human being. You try to practice, essenceless on the other phenomena. It doesn't have to reduce the attachment of the human being. That means you must, practice essenceless toward the person whom you have attachment. Right? So, our daily basis, you can see, if I practice compassion towards Mr. A, and compassion become more stronger, then anger towards Mr. A become weaker. If you practice compassion every day, finally, you don't have any anger towards Mr. A. You have only compassion, right? That's the same thing. One day you don't have any negative thoughts. Then we can call you achieve arhatship. You become arhato, but not Buddha. So how you can be Buddha? Plus, you must eliminate all the afflict emotion plus obscuration. How we can how we can improve someone achieve liberation or the Buddhahood? How? At the Buddha lifetime, there are so many sangha or bhikkhu or bhikkhuni who achieve arhatship. Still, they have the propensity of the attachment desire. They're supposed to walk very peacefully. When they go around, sometimes they, jump here and there. Because not the negative emotion due to the mental, the propensity, which is they have for many lifetime. Right? So that's why we have a two achievement, temporal and what next one? The final one. Final can be, final goal can be Buddhahood, can be liberation. The mainly, as a Mahayana practitioner, the Buddhahood is the final goal. That means, so we have two achievement, temporal and final. So now you can see, in Buddhist practice, we talk about the 10 virtues. We talk about the 8 precepts, right? All these practices mainly practice to achieve the temporal goal, which is, the leisure and opportunity life. Then plus we talk about the, three mind trainings. Mind trainings, what are they? Mind training of ethical discipline, mind training of meditative concentration, training of wisdom. Okay, then mainly these three practices lead you to liberation. Then plus, if you practice bodhicitta, then look at, that means first you must practice that, 10 virtues, taking refuge. Then plus you practice the three mind trainings. Then plus you must practice bodhicitta. That means you are carry all the practice together, right? In order to achieve Buddhahood. Then final goal is the Buddhahood. And also, we must think, in generally, many, like a religion, like Hindu or Muslim or Christian, they have always discrimination between male and female. In Buddhist, due to the certain culture, I'm saying culture, and due to the, the different culture, you can see there's a little bit discrimination between male and female. But the Buddha, practice of the Buddha teaching, anybody can practice bodhicitta, male or female. Anybody can practice emptiness. Anybody can achieve Buddhahood. Anybody can, achieve liberation. Based on the Buddha teaching, there's no discrimination between male and female. Due to that reason, also, you can feel I'm very fortunate to have opportunity to knowing all the Buddha teaching, to allow to practice all the Buddha teaching. But due to certain culture, sometimes you can see the discrimination between, male and female. Based on the Buddha teaching, practice of the Buddha teaching, there's no discrimination between male and female. Anybody can achieve the final goal. So next, we move the page number 129. 129. Now we are really, enter into practice of Lamrim. Until now, it's kind of been a precondition of practice of Lamrim, practice of teaching, practice of Dharma. Now we are entering into the real, practice of Dharma. Look at how to take full advantage of the life of leisure and opportunity. Is a two paths. How to develop certain knowledge of the general practitioner of the path. The actual way of take full advantage of the life of leisure and opportunity. There's a two, paths. Number A, how to develop the certain knowledge of general presentation of the path. That means now, generally, how I must practice Dharma. Generally. Second, particularly, how I can practice the Mahayana path. As a Buddhist, first we must know how to practice, generally about the practices. That means presentation of the path in general. The way to develop certain knowledge of the general presentation of the path has a two paths. Right? Two paths. What are the two paths? The types of the person. Number two,
why students are led in stages using the trainings of the three kinds of
meditation. Look at the three types, three types of the person. What are the three types of person? Yeah, small capacity person, medium capacity person, great capacity. Because you use the capacity, because in Sanskrit there's a prushka. Okay, prush means like it's human, or it's just human. But we say, prush means have a capacity. Have a capacity. Just think about, just think about wish to achieve happiness. What kind of happiness? Happiness in the happiness free from the lower realms, right? Happy, free from suffering, or samsara, or happy from totally free from sufferings. That means there's three types of happiness. Happiness number one, free from happiness, free from lower realms, right? Lower realms. Then second type of happiness, happiness free from samsara. The third types, totally free from the subtle level of samsara, right? That means when we think about achieve happiness, I want to be free from lower realms. I don't want to be born in the animal and hungry gods, right? Free from the lower realms. Then there's another one type of happiness. Second is free from samsara. I don't want to reborn in the samsara. Is the second type of happiness. The last one, the great or bliss. Totally free from any types of problem and sufferings, which is Buddhahood. That means as a Buddhist practitioner, you have only three achievements, right? One achievement number one, free from lower realms, happy from lower realms. Second one, samsara. Third one, subtle samsara, free from any types of sufferings. Then here you must know, do you remember the Four Noble Truths? Truth of suffering. Then second, origin of suffering. Third one, cessation of suffering and the cause of suffering. Cause of suffering. Right? Cessation of suffering as well as cause of suffering. Now we must know the cause of sufferings. What are they? Karma and afflict emotions. Not only that, then karma, afflict emotion as well as obscurations. Obscuration, right? That means all the arhato who are not become Buddha, they are free from, suffering, not free from cause of suffering. Right? This means there are three types of happiness. Therefore, there are three types of practice. Therefore, there are three types of practitioner. Right? Very clear. Then look at the question number 2 there is why students are lit in the stage using the training of the three types of person. Right? Why you need to explain the small capacity part, medium capacity part. Why you should directly explain the great capacity part? This question. Then look at time is finished, right? Oh, sorry. Okay, so that means what kind of homework I must give you? Okay, from here I found page number 130. Okay, page number 130, 132. And yes, page number 130, 31 and 32. These pages are so important because in the Buddhist tradition, when you open any teaching, at the beginning there's a very short summary, right? Short summary, what to explain. That means page number 130 and 31, 32 is the really, the summary of complete Lamrim. So please everybody read very slowly, page number 130, 31 and 32. Is explain, the whole meaning of Lamrim. So when you fully understand the two pages, then you will understand, kind of the meaning of Lamrim. So it's bit time is over. So please don't forget to do your homework, and thank you so much for attending the Lamrim class. So we do the dedication prayers.